Easy guys, Dom here from Cringy Dad Gaming. So in this video we'll be taking a look at a team-based tactical first-person shooter based on lethal close quarters combat. And this game released back in 2018, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the game, and if you've not played it before, why it is still a pretty good game even after a few years of being out. It released initially into early access, and when it released into early access there wasn't as much content in there as there is now, and I feel that the game has been building quite well, and they're still going to be adding new content to it, which we'll talk about later on in the video. If you want to find a game that gives you lots of different game modes, a more military sim feeling in terms of the experience, then I think this game is probably going to be one for you. And the thing I like about the game is you can play in a co-op group against AI enemies, and the AI in the game is actually pretty good. They are quite clever, they will use cover to their advantage, they will try and flank you, they use various different weapons and equipment such as grenades, flashbangs, smoke grenades, that sort of thing. But they'll also call in things like mortar strikes on you at certain points in certain game modes. So one of the main game modes is you have to go through and capture the objectives that the enemy is holding. Sometimes you'll have to blow up enemy weapon caches and things like that. And sometimes you'll have to actually defend a location once you've secured it against waves of incoming enemies. And that's usually when you get things like the mortar strikes. They can fire in things like mustard gas, meaning you're going to have to make sure you've got a gas mask as part of your equipment. And while I'm mentioning the equipment in this game is pretty awesome. You've got various different weapons with lots of real world guns and the attachments to go with them. So they range kind of from things like you'd usually expect, like assault rifles, SMGs, LMGs, sniper rifles, lots of different types of handguns. Where the fun really comes in is with all the different attachments. You got various different scopes. Some of them have multiple kind of zooms on them, or you can kind of go between a ×4 scope to a small red dot on the top. You've got different types of grips, extended mags, different muzzles that you can put on the gun, such as silencers, flash hiders, that sort of thing. You'll also have various different types of laser sights, and lots of other really in-depth attachments. You've got undermounted grenade launchers or undermounted shotguns that you can put on some of the guns. Yeah, the list goes on, and I just really like all the different types of attachments. But you've also got different types of equipment you can choose. So when you're choosing your loadout, you will have like these certain amount of like supply tokens that you've got that you spend to be able to put your character together in terms of the weapons and equipment that you're going to use. So it kind of depends really on where you want to spend your supply points, so you can really beef up your gun really well but not have other things like the amount of ammo you can carry by having a larger or smaller magazine pouch. You can also equip things like different types of plate carrier, so you can have a light plate carrier or a heavy plate carrier, meaning you're going to be able to take more damage. You can have various different types of explosives. So you could have things like vehicle mines, or you could have hand grenades, incendiary grenades, flashbang, smoke grenades, those sorts of things. They all take certain amounts of points depending on which ones you want to use. And, you know, the gas mask that I mentioned as well is optional. Then the type of handgun and the attachments will all take points to spend. Some things don't cost anything, just like a basic handgun and a knife and stuff like that. Going through you different builds, there are different classes that will have different weapons in them, and it just kind of depends on how you want to build your character. There is character customization, so you can change the different type of clothing that the character wears, the different type of camo patterns on them, different types of helmets, hats, gloves, boots. The list goes on, and it's quite in-depth. There is a little bit of character creation, different character looks, different hairstyles. Although really for me where the game falls flat is the hair and beards and things like that aren't that great. But I think the equipment itself does look pretty good. You can have things like certain tattoos, and all these things, these cosmetic things, are usually unlocked by in-game credit that you actually earn from completing the missions successfully. So you get XP and you'll level up. You'll get these credits that you can spend to be able to customize your character. But if you're not bothered about the character customization, then you don't have to spend any of these credits to unlock the weapons. Everything is unlocked. You just have to use supply points, and you spend them on your characters to be able to kit them out. But what they've added into this game over a period of time is different maps for you to play on and new game modes. So you've got the co-op game mode, which I've already been talking about, and then you've got the outpost game mode, which was added a while back. That means you have to try and survive against waves of enemies while holding one position. Kind of really reminds me of the film Black Hawk Down, where you're kind of hunkering down, enemies are coming in to try and kill you. And with each wave, they get harder, better geared enemies will start coming in at you. And you will kind of earn a number of supply points each round that you survive to be able to then just upgrade your weapons and equipment a little bit better as you're playing. So you start off really basic and then you build up your firepower as the waves progress. And it's like surviving 7 waves in the outpost mode. And I really like that. And it is, holding down different positions in different maps. So every time you play a map, even though it may be the same map, you'll be in a different building or a different location. It kind of keeps that feeling fresh. But there's also a versus mode as well. So if you like playing the online multiplayer type game, so you're playing against other people online in a PvP context, then the game has that, and it has a lot of different game modes for you to be able to play that as well. But for me personally, where this game shines is in the co-op, where you're playing against the AI enemies. These AI enemies, as I mentioned, can be really difficult, and they're not perfect. Sometimes they will feel like they can sometimes almost one-shot aimbot you. You'll suddenly see the enemy in a doorway, and before you've even got time to react, they've already killed you. But that's kind of the hardcore nature of the game to a certain extent. And when I mention hardcore, there is actually a co-op hardcore mode, which is even harder than the normal mode, where you'll be playing against more elite AI enemies that have, probably better body armor, better equipment, and they just react slightly different and play slightly different to what the others do. But another thing they did add, just to add another level of spice to the game, is the nighttime ops, where you'll be playing at night and it'll be dark, and you then have the option to be able to equip things like night vision goggles and different types of night vision scopes or infrared laser sights to be able to see when you're wearing your night vision. You can see your laser only in night vision, and when you turn your night vision off you won't see it. It's quite realistic in terms of some of the equipment you've got, and I really like that. And some of these nighttime missions can feel totally different to playing the same map in the day. It just gives it a totally different feel and a different vibe to it. They've added a lot of cosmetic things into the game that you can buy. The most recent thing though they did add into the game, which was free, was the high resolution texture pack, which I'm guessing is just to try and bring it up to date a little bit in terms of graphically how it looks. Because it was released over 3 years ago now, and even though the graphics still aren't the best, they still look decent enough at this point with the high resolution texture pack installed, and that's available on Steam now. But the next update that they're bringing to the game comes out on May the 18th, is Operation Exodus. This free update will include a new map, new weapons, and some other stuff that they haven't released information on yet, so that's kind of locked on their website behind these little locked symbols. So what they're trying to do is tease new things right up until its release, and I think that's pretty cool. I think the fact that they're adding an exciting new map, and it looks quite cool. I don't know what the actual game mode that's coming, so there's going to be a new game mode coming. I'm not sure what that's going to be about, but in the picture that they've got on the website, it shows people fast roping from a helicopter. And yeah, who knows what that's going to be, but that's going to be something exciting to look forward to. The game itself does have a good player base, and I've met some really cool people. There is a voice chat within the game. It's quite tactical. When you press a button and you speak, after you finish you get this kind of bleep. It sounds like you're using tactical comms, and most people that I've spoken to on the game are really friendly. It's not a toxic environment at all from what I've experienced from playing this game. And I kind of like that, the fact that, most people playing it are in pretty good spirits and actually, invested in the game and take it relatively seriously. There is friendly fire in the game, so, I've not come across any team killers, and that's something I would have thought I'd get a lot. People trolling you. I haven't come across that at all, which is also really good. Most people will apologise if they shoot you. Usually you get shot, the damage does reflect back onto the other player to a certain extent, unless you're already really injured from an enemy, and then you could die. But most people will type in the chat, oh, sorry, you know, I killed you by mistake, that sort of thing. And it will happen. It is just one of those things. But overall, though, the player base, usually you've got around 3,000 people playing on the game when I'm on there, so plenty of people to play with. Games load super quick, so you're not waiting around in lobbies forever, and there's various different servers around the world as well. I play on the European server, and I pretty much get a 20 millisecond ping, steady at most times. I don't get any frame drops, I don't get any issues with lag. The game for me runs really, really good, and that's at max settings with an increased resolution as well. I'm getting way over 60 frames per second. Pretty much constant. So the game runs really well, it's enjoyable, there's lots of really cool weapons and game modes to try out, and it's only $25.99 in the UK on Steam. I'm not sure what the price will be anywhere else, and that's not even without a sale. So the game Insurgency Sandstorm, I think, is just really, really cool. Out of all the different types of tactical games I've played out there at the moment, this one is a gem. It's one that a lot of people might have missed. It's got very positive reviews on Steam as well. So I think it's got something like over 55,000 positive or very positive reviews. So that's a good thing considering how long it's been out for. Developers are active, constantly updating the game and fixing issues they find with it. So if you're looking for a new first-person tactical shooter to play, other than any of the others that are out there, then this might be the one for you. Now, it's not an open world game as such. They are large sandboxed areas, and you will go through pretty much to different objectives. Although the direction you choose to go to different objectives is up to you, but the maps are pretty big. A lot of them are pretty good. So check the game out if you haven't, and if you'd like to see more Insurgency Sandstorm gameplay or videos on my channel, then just let me know in the comments. And if you've got any questions about the game, also pop them in the comments. So if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Watch this space for more Insurgency Sandstorm, and I'll catch you guys on another video. Thanks for watching.